Console redesigns are inevitable. Nothing's perfect the first go around, and redesigns give console manufacturers the chance to reignite interest in their system, make it with cheaper parts, or just simply make it better stylistically and or functionally. Now, while some console redesigns really hit,
I don't know, man.
just simply make it better.
Disagree if you want to. I feel like that right there, this right here, is the best design for the Xbox. It's the best design. It's the most powerful, short of the Series X, which this is essentially the same fucking thing. This is actually the Xbox One S, and then there's one after it that looks just like this called the Xbox One Series S, which is all digital and has no disk drive, but it's the same design. And this is quite possibly my favorite and the best design for the Xbox. The Series X is ugly as balls, bro. It looks like a small little black mini refrigerator. It's so fucking stupid. And then the first Xbox, that kind of looked like a fucking suitcase. That was too goddamn big. And then the Xbox 360 was okay, but this right here, this is it when it comes to the Xbox, at least in my opinion.
Stylistically and or functionally. Now, while some console redesigns really hit
Oh, the OG PlayStation. Good lord. I forgot what it looked like until now.
it out of the park and not only looked better but worked better, some may have only done one or the other, and some just straight up did neither. So let's take a look at console redesigns throughout history.
That is trash. Holy shit, that is the ugliest design right there for the PlayStation. Agree, disagree, I don't care. The PS3 design, that was hideous. That was absolutely hideous. Oh lord.
History and see whether they were a worthy upgrade or make me vomit. Now, redesigns have been around since the dawn of time, i.e. the late 70s. Some redesigns acted like they were straight up sequels to the original models, like the Fairchild Channel F2 and
the fuck is that thing? I'm not old enough to know about this thing. What is that? That looks vintage as fuck. Looks like a typewriter with only 4 keys on it. Ooh, that's ugly.
Some redesigns acted like they were straight up sequels to the original models, like the Fairchild Channel F2 and the Intellivision 2. These being solid upgrades to the originals, albeit with the Intellivision 2 being made much cheaper. The Atari 2600 got a few facelifts, most famously being the Atari 2600.
Yeah, Jeff, I played. I had a Sega Genesis.
Junior, released in 1986.
I never played Atari, bro. I wasn't born in that time. And by the time I got into gaming, it wouldn't have made much sense to go backwards in time and play the Atari when the PlayStation 1 existed, the Dreamcast existed, the fucking the N64 existed, the Genesis existed. Not too long after came the Xbox, so I wasn't born at the time of the Atari, so I never got to play it. And I don't know, man, when I got into gaming, I was just like, I'm not going backwards, that's for sure.
It wasn't officially subtitled the Junior, and for good reasons.
I did play Pac-Man, though. It just wasn't on the Atari, bro. A lot of Atari games I usually played at arcades. Actual arcades.
That name reeks of, I'm not buying that, I'm too old for it. It was simply a redesigned 2600 released at a budget price to allure all those value seekers out there. There were a few other variants of the console released, one with some switches rearranged, and one with an all-black finish, nicknamed the Darth Vader model. Now, all these redesigns looked fine.
I mean, this is named the Darth Vader model? That's not bad. Like, that looks way better than their original model, actually. This is actually an upgrade. For sure.
Ranged and one with an all-black finish, nicknamed the Darth Vader model. Now, all these redesigns looked fine, but in my opinion it ain't an Atari without the wood grain finish. Redesigns start to get a bit more interesting with the NES. The original model is quite the chubby piece of shit if I do say so myself. Yes, this is one of the most iconic looking video game systems ever released, but it's a meaty little guy and is crazy prone to hardware failures. I'll bet that if you own the original NES right now, it either has some problems, doesn't work, or has been refurbished or fixed at some point. After the Super Nintendo hit the scene, Nintendo put out a redesigned NES, positioning it as a budget gaming system. It takes a few design cues from the Super Nintendo, as it's a top loader, which is what this model is generally referred to as. Now, rumor has it this system was designed as a way to combat complaints from consumers, as people would put their drinks on top of the NES like a coffee table. They would fall over and damage the system.
Well, you know what? Y'all are just fucking morons. I mean, why? Bro, because it somewhat looks like a little fucking miniature nightstand? Oh my god.
drinks fit on here. The top loader is the definitive official NES model. It rocks in almost every way. It's way more compact, is much more reliable, and can play stuff like PAL games. But it has one glaring flaw. Oh god, that's gross. Yeah, instead of AV out, this thing only has RF.
Like, dude, the Xbox design that we just talked about, the one that I really, really like, got same thing as the NES. It's like the same flat surface, built in a block. You could put stuff on that too. I just never did because water and electricity don't mix. They never have. Not since the dawn of time.
That's disgusting. So instead of the picture looking like this, it'll generally look like this. On top of that, being RF only means this thing is almost completely irrelevant to use on modern TVs. However, you can mod it for AV out. The problem is you definitely need some modding skills or need to spend a pretty penny to have somebody else do it for you. However, various people called Nintendo back then and complained about the lack of AV out on this system. In response, Nintendo offered to officially mod their consoles to have AV out, so there do exist official versions of the system with AV, however, they are incredibly rare. It's just so odd that it was like this straight out of the box. The Japanese Famicom version of this redesign was literally called the Famicom AV. It included AV out, and it was a big part of the branding. If you're willing to spend a ton of money to not only buy this system, but mod it as well,
Looking at fucking relics here, dude. Holy shit.
you might want to consider just picking up the high-end aftermarket NES systems with HDMI, like the AVS from Retro USB or the Analog NT Mini. Similar to the NES's revision, the Sega Master System 2 was a budget console redesign, but it really doesn't hold a candle to the
Oh lord, this must have been what came out before the Genesis. I never played this console. Oof, look at that controller. Holy shit.
original release in my opinion. Some Master System games came on cards, which you would insert into a slot in the original model. Hope you weren't planning to do that on your Master System 2. This only plays the cartridge-based games, which a majority of games were released on cartridge, so it's not a huge deal. But overall, the original model plays all the games, and the design is just way more appealing to me personally. The 2 just kinda looks awkward and generic. The original isn't stunning by any means, but it has more personality. Sega decided to
Fuck, dude, right here, the console itself looks like the controller. And the controller pad actually looks like the cartridge.
generic. The original isn't stunning by any means, but
Or the cart, I mean.
it has more personality. Sega decided to strike again in the terrifying world of redesigns with the Genesis,
I played this. This was fun. I had a good time with this. I played a lot of Sonic on the Genesis.
getting 3 major revisions.
But I had the one in the middle. I didn't have Genesis 3 and I didn't have the 16-bit. I had this one. One in the middle.
The original Sega Genesis model is big, bold, and screams the company who made Sonic Forces loud and proud. The second model feels a bit tamer. I grew up with this model, and overall everything feels a bit more refined and evened out.
Yes.
However, I do think the Model 1 has a lot more
Sonic the
character.
Hedgehog, bro, I'm telling you.
It's just
It was so much fun.
I do have a soft spot for the Model 2, but the Model 1 just screams. But the Model 1 just screams what the Genesis was all about.
Okay, yeah, it's just the way he worded it. My bad. I should have just let him keep talking.
And if we're talking character, well, the Model 3 has that in spades. Yes, the runt of the litter. The Model 3 was actually produced by Majestic.
That one looks bad. Actually. This one looks like it doesn't have nearly as much the processing power as the other two.
Go under Sega's license, and it's always wildly uncomfortable to me.
This is like what Xbox does with their consoles, where like they release the main console, but then they release like 2 other ones underneath it that are like just smaller and sleeker and probably not as powerful, and they cost less.
Game consoles are about the same size as the games. This one doesn't work with the Sega CD or 32X add-ons and was just a tiny cheap version of the Sega Genesis. I mean, it works, but now I'd say it's really nothing more than a novelty, a collector's piece really. The SNES got a redesign late in its life. Blam, this thing is irrelevant. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I never played the Super Nintendo.
But I don't really see any real reason to use this compared to the original model. Unlike the NES top loader, at least it has AV out. However, that's all it has. The original SNES allowed for loads more different video outputs, so in the end, this redesign just feels like it's a downgrade across the board. I think the design is kind of boring and it's functionally worse than the original. The PS1 and the PS1. Yes,
Oh, that one's shit. Hold on.
boring and it's functionally worse than the original. The PS1 and the PS1.
Okay. This one right here on the left, W. This one right here on the right, L. Hard, bro. Do y'all agree or nah? Doesn't really matter. It's all personal preference, but this one over here on the right, Man, hell no. That. Nope.
1. Yes, the original PlayStation's redesign is just called...
I did have a PlayStation 1, bro. I had the one on the left, and then I saw the one on the right, and I was just like, bro, look at it.
The PS1 and the PS1.
Look at it. It looks like an oddly shaped Walkman. You remember? I grew up in the age of Walkmans. Man, had them right here on your hip. You had a little fucking cord. You had that goddamn those headphones that were made out of fucking aluminum for the damn head, little head, this thing, the head strap or whatever. And it just looks like a portable Walkman is what it looks like, and that's not. Ooh, nope.
Yes, the original PlayStation's redesign is just called the PS1, and I had this model as a kid. But I didn't know about the LCD screen attachment until way later, my god! I'm personally fine with both of these designs. You can't really go wrong with either.
I feel like the design is better on this one, the gray one. And the design on the white one, I mean, yeah, Vince, the PS1 might have had faster processing times because it was just an upgrade, but as far as aesthetics, which is what we're talking about here, console redesigns, that shit's ugly.
Of them. The PlayStation brand of consoles would continue to carry the torch of the redesign. Every single one has gotten a facelift, and the first to continue this tradition was the PlayStation 2. This is just one.
Okay, I had the PlayStation 2. This right here is the PlayStation Slim. The PlayStation 2 was huge, bro, and this picture right here, this like little fucking screenshot that we're looking at, this does not do it justice as per how big the PS2 actually was. The PS2 was massive. The PS Slim, I like it. Because I feel like the Slim is what the original PS2 should have been, in my opinion. But they're both the same. I don't want to say that they're ugly. It's just, bro, that OG PS2 was fucking huge. Oh, dude, I played a shit ton of Gran Turismo on the PS2. I didn't have a Slim because I already had a PS2. So my mom wasn't going to buy me two of the same fucking console. She called me retarded. And as a kid, I didn't have my own money, so...
One of those before and after ads. Now this is a redesign done right. They literally smashed an entire PS2 into something like 10% of the size of the original. Yeah. The first model was garbage. Look at this thing. Fell apart with a few swings of a hammer. Now the PS3 was interesting because the system's got...
No. Not really. Well... I just don't like this design. At all. Whatsoever. I stopped playing PlayStation, by the way, after the PlayStation 2. I had a PlayStation 2. Bro, I played the Matrix game. I played Tiger Woods Golf. I played Gran Turismo. I played Dead to Rights. And then my mom caught me smoking cigars. And then she smashed my PlayStation into 1,000 little bitty fucking pieces. And I was like, God damn, that was not worth it because cigars are gross as fuck. And now I just lost my PlayStation. And then after I lost my PlayStation, I didn't game at all. I stopped playing video games. Period. I was just too busy with baseball and being grounded and girls and all that stuff. And I never got the PS3. I stopped altogether with PlayStation, bro. I haven't had a PlayStation since the PS2. But I wasn't really a fan of this design. I actually prefer the design of the PS2 and the PS2 Slim as opposed to this design right here.
Got better, but worse at the same time. The original version says, I blew $600 to play Ridge Racer 7. This guy had so much useless garbage crammed into it that just made the price skyrocket. Like, look at all the...
God damn, bro. How many USB ports do you need? Holy shit.
Card readers it had. Why do you need these? The PS3 Slim was released as a way to
These days, the consoles don't even come with those fucking inputs or sockets. It's all built in.
Invigorate consumer interest in the platform at its lowest point, and it did a great job at it. The price was affordable and the design was much more compact and attractive. However, it ditched PlayStation 2 backwards compatibility. I mean, certain varieties.
And that right there is why people went to Xbox quite a bit. Backwards compatibility. For the longest time, PlayStation was better than Xbox. PlayStation had better graphics. PlayStation had Blu-ray. And PlayStation was just PlayStation, right? It had the clout, of course. And then when Xbox came out, with their backwards compatibility and your ability to play 360 games on next gen consoles and share games and console share. So if you signed into your buddy's account and he signed into yours, whatever you purchased, he got to play, and whatever he purchased, you got to play, especially if it was digital, right? That really did, the backwards compatibility really did hold PlayStation back quite a bit. Had they not got rid of that, or just simply had they launched that immediately instead of waiting for Xbox to just completely shit on them for years until they actually pulled their heads out of their asses as far as backwards compatibility goes, oh bro, it'd be no contest. But now every console's the same. All the graphics are pretty. Everything has Blu-ray. The only thing you're really buying now in 2023 as far as a console between Xbox and PlayStation is just the name. That's all you're buying. All you're buying is the name. And on top of that, in my opinion, I truly believe that PlayStation has better exclusive games than Xbox. Xbox kind of dropped the ball with exclusive games quite a bit. They didn't put out as many exclusive games or as many fun and awesome exclusive games as PlayStation. And PlayStation has always had the rights to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is just a fucking juggernaut of a fucking game that people love. So, yeah, it was very hard for Xbox to compete with that.
Varieties of the original model had it, but with the release of the Slim, PS...
Yeah, exactly, Vince. I'd say they're about even now. It's all the same, bro. The only thing you're buying is a brand, a name, and whatever console has the best exclusive games. That's it, because exclusive games are fun.
PS2 disc support was gutted entirely. But at the very least, PS1 games could still be used. The PS3 Super Slim though? Yeah, this was pointless.
Oh my god, this right here is so ugly. It just begs the question, who was in charge and why are they still employed? Oh, this was hideous. This was it. I'm so glad I wasn't a PlayStation user back when this fucking thing came out. This was dog water, in my opinion.
Talk about an odd release. A third console revision is never the most common thing out there, and this just felt like they were cheaping out. There wasn't much wrong with the PS3 Slim, and to just replace it with
this is like they didn't have everything squared away yet for the PS4, but still needed to make a profit, and then decided to release this shit. That's all that was.
This wasn't the greatest. I gotta hand it to him though. Can't do this on other consoles. The Xbox 360 had a similar trip down redesign lane. The original model, it was terrible.
I disagree. I disagree. I think that this model, compared to the OG Xbox model, the first one that came out, all black with the big green X on it, and the controller was fucking huge. That model was ugly, bro. Ugly. It was like, it looked like a big black suitcase. It was. It literally looked like, it reminded me of that Xbox, the OG Xbox. I swear they could have shipped it with the fucking brick cell phones. You remember those cell phones? It was like this goddamn big. You had to open your palm this wide, fucking pull out the antenna. Hello. Like, dude, that was ugly. That console was ugly, so this is way better than that. Just not as good as some of the other entries.
I mean, it just didn't function well. It failed constantly. The 360S, on the other hand, boy, this is a good console. The 250GB model came with a glossy finish, and I'm pretty happy I cheaped out and got the 4GB.
I didn't have this one. I had the OG white one, so...
Failed constantly. The 360S.
I had this one. I didn't have the next model. That black one. I was just like, bro, my games still run fine. Really, for the most part. And when it comes to consoles, man, the way I operate is I treat consoles just like anything else. Just like anything else, bro. Till the wheels fall off. What, I buy an Xbox and then next year you release another one and you're expecting me to buy it when the one I have still works perfectly and is still in mint condition? Man, you high. Ain't no way, bro. So like the way I operate with consoles, till the wheels fall off. And with this console, not even till the wheels fall off, until you get that red ring of death, which I got on like 2 of these fucking consoles actually, because I bought it twice. Because one of these consoles I took over to Europe, and because I was a moron and didn't realize the power outlet situation in that country, I ended up plugging in my Xbox into a fucking cord, plugging in that cord into the fucking wall, and because I didn't have a converter, it shorted it blew up my power supply. And these Xboxes came with a brick of a power supply. I don't know if y'all remember, bro, but it was huge. Like, the power supply was this big. It was this big. Bro, the power supply couldn't even fit in here. It was huge.
It was terrible. On the other hand, boy, this is a good console. The 250GB model came with a glossy finish, and I'm pretty happy.
But you can't argue with 250 gigabytes, bro. Because, you know, I mean, hell, even back in these times, games were getting big, man. Like, big. Like, gigabyte big, right? So 250 gigabytes, you can't scoff at that, and you can't argue with that. Like, that's fantastic, bro, especially if you plan on having a big library of games.
Yeah, cheap.
And yes, you're right, Nap, they're still getting bigger. So, I mean, these days, 1 terabyte won't even do that much. Bro, like, I had 2 terabytes on my Xbox One Series S, and I maxed it out. Maxed it the fuck out. Less than a year. Maxed out all my space. 2 terabytes, bro. So back in these days, bro, 250 gigabytes, that was a godsend, really.
Out and got the 4GB model with this beautiful non-fingerprint heavy shell. They redesigned it again to look like the original.
Ooh, no, ugly. I do not like this one. This one was not good. Nope.
Xbox One. Why? This is another design that just kind of cheaped things up.
Oh, and the Kinect. Actually, matter of fact, I did have this one because I do remember having a Kinect. The Kinect was a big pile of shit, bro. Whoever was in charge of that, man, I don't hope they fired you. I just hope they sent you to like fucking customer service because this was terrible. The Kinect was awful. In every sense of the word, awful. It's not good.
They removed some ports and it reeks of first Xbox One model. I mean, that's what they were going for, but still. The S will always be the best one in my opinion. Next up, the Nintendo Wii, and if you haven't caught on—
Wait, how long did this video come out? Where the fuck is the Series S? The Series X? The fucking— maybe this is like an older video before all of these came out? I mean, I guess, bro, I didn't really never have a problem with the design for the Wii. What I had a problem with was just with the console itself. It just wasn't my thing, really.
Yet Nintendo—
Oh, this video was 5 years ago? That's why. Those next-gen consoles haven't come out yet. That makes sense.
Really only redesigns their successful consoles. The N64, GameCube, and Wii U, yeah, those—
I would have loved to have seen a redesign for the N64. That would have been pretty fire, but I don't think we ever got that.
Stayed the same throughout their entire life. The Wii's first release is perfect for what the Wii was meant to do. The Wii's second release got rid of the stand, GameCube backwards compatibility, and was meant to be laid on its side. That was a worthless redesign.
Nah, I think, I don't know about y'all, but I think that was where it was at. That was perfect, man. You could fit this thing like right next to if you have a bookcase, you could put it like right next to your Harry Potter collection, and it would look like a book. It'd be like the same width, the same height, everything, and you just put it right there. Very sleek, very compact, and the other one, I don't know, that other one looks— not a fan.
For what the Wii was meant to do. The Wii's second release got rid of the stand, GameCube backwards compatibility, and was meant to be laid on its side.
Nah, that don't look good to me. That doesn't even look right. I think you should have kept the vertical. Going horizontal like that? Nah, that's not appealing to the eye. I think they should have stayed vertical and not gone horizontal.
That was a worthless redesign.
Wait, they removed GameCube compatibility? I didn't even know that was a thing. I heard him say it, but it like didn't really register too much. I was like, oh, okay. But wait, so you could play GameCube games on the Wii? That can't be right. That's actually awesome, man. Backwards compatibility for two completely separate consoles? That's great. Why was that removed? Oh lord. What that's a L, bro.
backwards compatibility and was meant to be laid on its side.
That's a hard fucking L. Holy shit. And I'm almost pretty sure that backwards compatibility with the GameCube is what prompted people to initially make the purchase of the Wii. And then you take it away? Oh man, I'd have been so annoyed. I'd have been so annoyed if I was if I was a fan of this. I would have been so pissed off.
That was a worthless redesign. Speaking of worthless, the Wii Mini. This was
Oh my god. Anything mini, bro. In my experience, not just with consoles, not just with cell phones, not just with anything, bro. Anything. A mini version never been like MacBook Mini, iPhone Mini, fucking Wii Mini, iPad Mini, which I had, dog shit. Like, you attach the word mini to the end of your product, man, there's like a 95.7% chance I'm not buying it. I'm just not.
released in Canada around late 2012 until it got a wide
But $100, I guess that's not bad, I suppose. Whereas in what the OG Wii was like somewhere in the 200 range, maybe even 299. Hell, it's the Wii, bro. It was probably like 199 actually. Honestly, can't remember the price, but it looks bigger in that photo. The Wii Mini is way smaller than you think. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm looking at actually. I see the controller and the joystick, but this square little block right here, I don't know what that is.
release just a year later. This took things a
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a Wii Mini, bro. I just think of the word mini and I think of not good.
step forward and removed internet access. Jesus Christ. At least the Wii Mini looks more.
Wait, what did they do? How?
This was test released in Canada around late 2012 until it
Damn, test released in Canada? Damn, that's what Nintendo thinks about you, Canada. Oh, we can't give it to the Americans. No. Their standards are way too high. Who can we get to test this shit? Hey, Canada! Y'all have low standards? Oh man, what a slap in the face I feel.
got a wide release just a year
I do like the black on red. That is a good color scheme, but aside from that, I really don't have nothing else good to say about it.
later. This took things a step forward and removed internet access. Jesus Christ. At least
Removed internet access? So what the fuck are you supposed to do? I mean, I know I'm sounding bougie at the moment because back in the day, video games didn't have internet access, bro. You just played the game. But I mean, when in Rome, motherfucker, like everything else has internet access. Why are you trying to be the one outlier and be different in a bad way? That doesn't make... Man.
At least the Wii Mini looks more interesting than the second redesign, but none of these models make a case.
Bro, the Wii devolved. It devolved, actually. Whereas in every other console that we've seen up to this point, it was upgrade after upgrade after upgrade, aside from the PS3. That one where it just like the disc tray slides open. This devolved bad, actually. They didn't make this better.
To be bought compared to the first one. I also think the Mini really missed out on a huge opportunity with the lack of internet access. 2012 was the time streaming boxes really started to hit it big. Popping an HDMI port on the Wii Mini, giving it internet access, and positioning it as a streaming box that could play Virtual Console and Wii games could have actually been a huge hit. It did come with a Wii Remote, Nunchuck, and Mario Kart Wii here in North America for $100, and if you did the math at the time, those three things alone would add up to around $100, so you'd be getting the Wii Mini for basically nothing. That didn't stop anybody from not caring about it though. The PS4 and Xbox One have both been guilty of receiving facelifts, and in the Xbox One...
Okay, dude. I really like this one. But this is the same one as like the one that I said at the very beginning, the Xbox Series S. This is the Xbox One X. The all black is just, I love the all black. I love all black or all white. Those are just, they look so clean. And then the Xbox One X had that like that flat matte black that's it's not like shiny or polishy. It's just like kind of like that very kind of like bland black color. Like I'm a big fan of.
One's case, it just kept getting better and better. The original Xbox One is fucking terrifying. If Microsoft is capable of releasing a VC better. The original Xbox One is fucking terrifying. If Microsoft is capable of releasing
I had that, actually. Along with that big piece of shit to the far right. This right here, the Kinect. This was an upgraded Kinect from the Kinect that we saw previously. I had this Xbox.
a VCR in 2013, who knows what they can do? The system barely had any character and felt like something to sit next to the DVR under your TV and nothing else.
It was pretty
Now the
bland.
original PS4 in comparison, ooh la la. This thing is
Probably, it's still big. It's still huge. This kind of reminds me of the PS2, the OG PS2, but just 2 stacks instead of like 3 and 4. You know how like the PS2 had like those rows of just like stacked panels, whereas this one just has 2, and it seems way more simple and way easier. It honestly just reminds me of just like a sleeker, trimmed down version of the PS2.
isn't perfect, all these nooks and crannies can build up a lot of dust, but the PS4 has a unique design that's still fully functional. And then they made this. The PS4
What the fuck is that? That's
a lot of dust, but the PS4 has a unique design that's still fully functional. And then they made this.
what is that? Well, I worked at GameStop once upon a time. I never saw this shit. What is that supposed to be? I know it's a PS4, but is it a slim? Is it a mini? What is that? I like it. I just never seen it before. It seems just as big though, actually.
The PS4 Slim always felt so awkward to me. The tiny little sliver at the top just feels weird. The Xbox One's revision, the One S on
Yes, that one. Perfect. Bro, perfect. Every single detail of this console, I love.
the other hand, oh, this thing looks sleek, it looks modern, it's everything a redesign should be.
Perfect.
Because not only does it look better, but it was upgraded under the hood as well with some 4K support.
Yes.
Now in terms of the high-end versions
Granted, the game you played had to support 4K, but still.
of each console, the PS4 Pro, this feels like they were thinking, how do we convey to people that this is a more powerful PS4? And then
Make it bigger. Make it look like a fucking triple-decker sandwich that was stacked awkwardly.
somebody just said, add another sliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been a huge fan of this triple-decker design. I
Yeah.
prefer it to the Slim, but not by much. The Xbox One X, on the other hand, is like a tweaked Xbox One S, and I think
Yeah.
it looks lovely. The S has a bit more
Same thing, just all black. Nothing much different, and it doesn't have those vents on top. It has the vents on the side. I don't know if that increased performance or anything, but either way, the X and the S look very good.
character with all those holes, but the X still looks really good.
Yeah.
Now just you wait, because we can't possibly skip over the handhelds. The original Game Boy line
Oh my god. My jam. My jam. Please. Oh my god, I need to find one of these, man. This is like one of my favorite things ever.
got slimmer and better with the Game Boy Pocket and received a backlight with the Japanese exclusive Game Boy Light. I always considered the Game Boy Color to be its own system, but many consider it a half step, and it's
I had so much fun with the Game Boy. Like, you have no idea how many hours I sat on the toilet playing Pokemon with my mom and dad just beating down my fucking door like, what the fuck are you doing in there? Fucking, you've been in there for 3 hours! Fucking trying to catch fucking Charizard, bitch! You're fucking up my mojo! So much fun, man.
more of a hardware revision rather than a full-on sequel to the original Game Boy. Either way, it continued where the Game Boy Pocket left off, now with a color screen. The Game Boy Advance is what we call
Ugh, no, I was not a fan of this at all. But by the time the Game Boy Advance came out, bro, I was no longer playing the Game Boy. Or by the time this redesign happened, I was playing console stuff, so.
full-blown sequel, and
But this is ugly. I prefer that. This right here, not so much.
actually became playable with the release of the Game Boy Advance SP, a full
Not that either. And I actually played on one of these. It just seems so awkward, man. And I got big hands, so this was just like so difficult for me to do stuff. Dude, it was like, I can't do it.
Backlight, clamshell design, and rechargeable battery make this the definitive Game Boy, with an even better backlight coming in a revised model. And then think
Call me old school, man. Call me fucking whatever, bro. I prefer the OG. The OG is where it's at. I don't really care about all these other redesigns for the Game Boy.
things got effing puny. The Game Boy Micro was a really cool take on the Game Boy Advance.
A really cool take. It seems like they're trying to sell you less for more, is what it feels like. And it honestly looks like the OG Game Boy, but it's horizontal instead of vertical, and you put the buttons on the side instead of underneath the screen. I don't like that one. I don't like that one at all.
The problem being, that's all it was. It couldn't play original Game Boy or Game Boy Color.
Oh my god, so no fucking lame.
Just Game Boy Advance games. The PSP had a fair amount of releases, with the 1000.
This thing was ass. I don't care what it looks like, bro. You can polish a turd all day. At the end of the day, it's still a piece of shit, man. Like, this is bad.
1000 model being the first.
Yeah, cool concept, but this shit was ass, man. Nope.
And the 2000 and 3000 models both being upgraded.
I do prefer the all black to the all white or silver, whatever the hell that color is.
But having pros and cons to each. Some prefer the 2000 screen to the 3000 screen, for example. The PSP Go was a mistake. It was a purely digital console, ahead of its time definitely, but it just did not take off.
I feel like the PSP should have been something that was, I mean, in 2023, they could make a PSP and make it fucking killer. But back in the day when they were experimenting with this, it just wasn't the right time. I just don't think the technology was there to make it appealing to the masses. Like the console version, or an Xbox, or a Wii, or like its predecessors, bro. I'd much rather play a Game Boy than play the PSP. So, I mean, maybe if like they came back in like 2025 or some shit and like, hey guys, we're bringing it back, but this time we know what we're doing. That'd be fine, bro. But at the time, I just don't think they had the stuff, or the right technology, or the right ideas, really. This would seem more just of like a novelty concept or something, like for your super Sony fan that buys everything Sony related and stuff like that. Go ahead, get yourself a PSP, play it for a day or two, and then put it right next to all of your action figures and your Funko Pops, right? So...
At least it wasn't the E1000, which is just like the Wii Mini, stripping a ton of features including Wi-Fi. Thankfully, the PS Vita has
Oh my god, they took away the Wi-Fi. Why? Bro, what is with you fuckers in doing that? Why do y'all remove core features that everything else has? Core features that would make it competitive to all of the other consoles and handhelds. Why do they do that? I don't understand the logic.
a pretty decent redesign, with its second model featuring a slightly lesser screen, but with most features still intact. I've already talked about the DS line before, so I'll keep.
This is more up my sister's alley. My sister was a huge fan of the Nintendo DS, and by the time the Nintendo DS became a thing, I was no longer into handhelds. So, there's that.
Keep it brief. Oh no. Amazing. Pretty good, but they got rid of the Game Boy Advance backwards compatibility, and almost all exclusive features of this console can be accessed on the 3DS, which can play DS games, so what's the point? Big. Now the 3DS. The original model had a lot of little design quirks. The bottom screen would leave a mark on the top screen, a bunch of unnecessary switches and lights, and the glittery.
One game I would play on the DS, Monster Hunter. Did Monster Hunter ever exist on the Nintendo DS? I believe that Monster Hunter originated on handhelds and then came to console and PC. Am I right? That's probably the only game I would play on one of these handhelds would be Monster Hunter, because I fucking love Monster Hunter.
Finish. All of this was fixed on the 3DS XL. While it was positioned as more of an alternative option to the regular 3DS,
But, I mean, I just still can't justify buying that only to play one game. You know what I mean? That's just not something I want to do.
Fixed a lot of the little issues with it and made it a more solid system. However, I do have to say, the original 3DS had clamshell design. There were millions of people who wanted to play one or two specific games on the 3DS, and that was about it, and the 2DS helped them do that for a crazy low price. I don't like this one. I know a lot of people actually find the 2DS more comfortable to hold, but not me.
Oh my god, it doesn't even fold. That looks awkward. I think it's just like one solid long tablet with two screens. And why did you have to make the bottom screen smaller than the top screen? And does this thing have a camera? I think it has a camera. This doesn't even look like... This looks like something you would give to your toddler. And they can play like fucking little baby games on it. That's just how it looks. I'm pretty sure you can play a whole bunch of other cool shit, but I don't know, mate. From where I'm sitting, it just looks like one of those like really, really tough, durable tablets that you just hand to one of your fucking kids and like they play blocks, you know, whatever. Maybe like a watered down version of like a Farmville game or some shit like that. It doesn't look anything like all the other ones.
Sadly. The new 3DS and new 3DS XL were...
There you go. I'm more of a fan if it opens. That whole... Dude, this one... That, like, not being able to fold it shut... I don't know, bro. I don't think I'd like that. That right there, that's an ugly design. And yellow, no less, bro. Yellow? Come on now.
To hold, but not...
What console in the history of fucking consoles has ever been yellow? They really were trying to be unique with this one.
Me, sadly. The new 3DS and...
Unless that was just like a fucking Pokemon Pikachu edition fucking handheld, then I can understand that, but...
New 3DS XL were hardware revisions of the original models, improving them both in almost...
Yeah, see, that's just way better than that last one. That last one wasn't it.
Every way, offering face tracking 3D, more buttons, and a nipple. I've never been a huge fan of this C stick here, but I'd rather have it than not at all. The regular new 3DS...
Oh, is it just like you can look around yourself? Is that what that is? Like that eyeball button that you see like on mobile games, or just like, you know, you holding the left bumper while you run in a console game and you can just look 360 all around you? Is that what that does? Interesting.
Is beautiful. I love almost everything about this design. Plus it has interchangeable faceplates. Oh man, I really prefer the bigger screens of the new 3DS XL. It's a dreadful problem. The new 2DS XL. Nope, that's not a joke. In reviews, a lot of people claim this was the definitive 3DS. Did they even play this thing? Like, it's fine, it works, but I think too many people just made a big deal about the top screen looking like a smartphone and saying, wow, this thing is great. It's not my favorite to play on. Why are the speakers down here?
That is a massive ass screen. Holy shit, it looks like they it looks like they attached an iPhone to a fucking PSP. Holy. That is beefy. I don't know whether to be disgusted or impressed. that thing's wild looking. Still not as ugly as some of the other ones we've seen though.
Where my palms would be. The new 2DS XL's placement in the 3DS line is a bit weird as well. It's for those people who don't want to cheap out completely with the...
If anything, I feel like these handhelds should also be made in relation to like how big people's hands are. Right? Because like, there was just a lot of handhelds that I just couldn't play, bro. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. I mean, fuck, dude. Look, this is an Xbox controller, okay? Look at this. I can cover the whole thing. I got big hands, dog. Like, huge hands. So some of these handhelds, I feel like they should have, like, made versions for, like, people with big hands, people with small hands. I mean, then again, I guess, like, that's what the redesigns were for and stuff like that. But, I don't know. There's always a problem for me.
The regular 2DS, but not spend 30 extra bucks for a new 3DS XL. Okay. Console redesigns can be a real make it or break it moment for us when it comes to actually deciding whether or not to buy a console, and they can also help a console.
I mean, but at the same time, let's think about it. I mean, what are you buying the console for? You're buying the console to play it. You're not buying it to look at it. But I do understand the need to want something that's aesthetically pleasing. I do understand that. But at the end of the day, let's not get too caught up with the visuals. I mean, I just want the console to work well, and do what it's supposed to do. Uh, if it looks good, that's just a bonus, but I'm just wanting quality. You know what I mean? From the console. Even the ugliest girl in the world is capable of giving a fucking phenomenal blowjob. You know what I mean? Did we cover the Switch on this? I forgot what the fucking Switch looks like. To be honest, my sister has all that stuff. My sister loves handhelds. My sister has so many of them. So many 3DSs, 2DSs. She's got a Nintendo Switch. She's got a whole bunch of stuff. She tried to get me to play Legend of Zelda last time we got together for Thanksgiving. And I was like, gee, I know that like you really love this stuff and you're one to put me on. Like, I get it. You know, you're my sister. You're one to share stuff with me and like maybe open my eyes to something that I didn't, know of once before and like maybe introduce me to something that I might like. But I don't want to be completely honest. I don't do handhelds anymore. And if I'm gonna do a handheld, like I said, I'm playing Monster Hunter, bro. I'm not playing Zelda. Oh yeah, the PS5's ugly as shit. Comparatively, what do y'all think's uglier? The PS5 or the Series X? I'm gonna say the PS5. The Series X, it just looks like a small little mini refrigerator that could quite possibly hold maybe 4 Red Bulls or 2 Monsters, give or take. So, the PlayStation 5. The only good-looking thing about this console is the controller. That controller looks sexy as shit. I'm not gonna lie. It almost reminds me of an Xbox controller. That's why I kind of like I love the way the controller looks, but the system itself, it looks like a part that goes inside of your vehicle, but your vehicle caught on fire and then that part got warped because of the heat and out came the PlayStation 5. Maybe that's why they made it like that, so you could stand it up or lay it down. I don't know, man. That thing's so ugly.